Welcome to another episode of the Schloegel Design Remodel Podcast. Today we're talking home trends of 2022, and here to help us make sense of what these trends are is Schloegel Design Remodel designer Megan Bringman. Megan has been in remodeling over 20 years and is a member of the National Kitchen and Bath Association. She is also a certified kitchen and bath designer. Megan, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
First time.
Yes.
So we have identified these 9 trends. The first one is hues in green. What do you think about green?
I love it. I love green, and green's always been kind of a neutral in our industry. It's an easy color to bring in. It's such an earthy, feel-good color. So I love that it's on our 2022 list for this year. All kinds of green, ranges. I mean, sage is certainly up there. Hunter green, Kelly green, army green with like more kind of an olive undertone. So it's really fun. You see this photo here of some bold green wallpaper. I just absolutely love it. And again, it's a neutral, so I think most people see it as something that they can live with long term. And it could be, wallpaper, it could be paint colors, cabinetry, tile, so many different opportunities to bring green in.
I'm not going to lie. Green's my favorite color, and I'm really, really excited to see this on the list again. Have you put any green in your projects lately?
Gosh, yes. So many colors of green, like especially that Kelly green color, like very fresh, crisp, sharp. Just really accents some of the white Carreras, really pretty, the quartz countertops. So yeah, certainly bringing in green, and then a little different take on it this year. Again, kind of a sage, kind of a more neutral green, maybe not as much, a vibrancy to it, but something a little more neutral is certainly popular as well. So like a bath vanity, like a single standalone piece, picking any color off of the swatch deck or of Sherwin-Williams or Benjamin Moore. We're just having a lot of fun with greens.
And I happen to know that you and I did a green cabinet in the showroom like 3 years ago.
Yes.
So we were
We were ahead of our time. Yes, we were.
Okay. So next we're talking curved lines. Can you talk what this actually means, curved lines, and what do you think of it as a trend?
Yes. So curvature, bringing it in different ways. So it could be like this bar backsplash, for example, kind of an unpredictable curve there. And straight lines and streamlines has certainly been the trend, but adding just a little curvature to it, just like a softened edge. And that could be like at the seating area of an island or a radius of a corner, a radius of one cabinet in a whole kitchen. Again, this one has kind of a backsplash design that has some curvature to it. So it's just kind of unpredictable areas where we can interject some curvature to play off of the rest of the space. Certainly curved walls. I've got a project right now in Fairway, and it was original to the home that they have these curved walls. And with the new project, we're going to bring those curved walls back in. So it's just kind of fun to see, those in different spaces. Of course, our Brookside homes, we do so many of those, and they have these really cool either Gothic style arches or curved arches. And we never want to like remove that from the home's character.
No,
you know what I mean?
So
so
cool.
Fun. And so we can recreate those details. Like let's say we're going to gut a kitchen and one of the doorways we're going to get rid of because of a construction project. I mean, we want to bring those details back in, and we can certainly do that with our craftsmen. So just really fun.
I feel like I spend too much time on Instagram, but like curved archways are all the rage. I mean, they are putting those in brand new builds these days.
Yes.
And to your point, like that's what's been in our old homes around this neighborhood forever, but
right.
They've got a big comeback.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so speaking right along to that is adding vintage, and I assume not just in what we're putting on walls, but furniture too. How do you feel about vintage and design?
Oh my gosh, I love it. In fact, we were just talking about, before we jumped on this podcast, we were talking about some hardware. And I have a client that has a condo down on the plaza in an old building from the 1900s. And we couldn't find any hardware piece that was going to match the rest of the doors in this unit. So we jumped onto Etsy and found an original hardware set that was completely covered in paint. And we ordered it and got it in, and our lead carpenter stripped all that paying off. So I 100% love vintage, and anytime we can bring something old, it just looks like it's been there forever. And it also kind of acclimates the new space to the rest of the home.
Yeah.
So,
it gives it, for me, it's like it gives it a lived in feeling.
Yes.
Like it's not, this is brand new. This belongs
Yes,
here.
exactly. And that's why we were on the search for that one little back plate of hardware, because we knew if we put anything else in, it was going to look like we bought that at Locks and Poles, you know? And that project just called for something different. So it's just really fun to do that. And of course, furniture pieces. We do a lot of reclaimed wood. And so I've had lots of pieces made for clients over the years from like antique heart pine, Elmwood reclaimed timber. They have a beautiful showroom, and it's all like barnwood or restored wood, you know, that came out.
Yes.
And it's just nothing like it.
And the like beams. That's why today I feel another thing we're seeing a ton of is those old wood beams.
Right.
Ugh,
Right.
so good.
So yeah, absolutely love the vintage. Makes it one of a kind. And especially when clients have things that they want to put into the project, like this photo. This is a lower level, and you can see the stained glass windows were original to this home.
On the website because our podcasters are just listening.
Oh,
but
yes.
yeah, we can.
Yes.
We'll put them on their website, so visit this too.
Yes. And just fireplace surrounds, you know. I mean, we want to give life to some of those things that have been there in homes and kind of work around them. So anytime we have an opportunity, we want to showcase that.
These trends are all just made for me, I swear. Next is dark and earthy tones. I feel like that a little bit plays into what we've already been talking about.
Yes, we're kind of tired of, we love white. I mean, we're going to forever love white kitchens. I think if I had to do my kitchen over again, I'd probably pick white again. But, you know, I think we're always looking for something fresh and different. And like, what's next? You know, if it's not white, what is it? Well, it's stain again. And so we're seeing stain in a whole variety of shades, you know, coming in with some of the really dark stains again, and then also some like very light, kind of weathered.
Almost like
I don't want to say,
bleach?
I don't want to say the word pickled for at all, but I'm almost saying,
really what they call it?
I'm almost saying like it's the new version of that, you know?
What color are your cabinets? It's pickled.
It's the new pickled. And so that's what we're seeing though, is like this bleached wood. And you know, we can take hardwood floors where we did a whole house and they had oak hardwoods, like 2 1/4 red oak hardwoods, but she wanted a freshened look on them. And so we did. We stained them. Yes.
You can bleach out
yes.
red.
Yes. Now, you're
I'm like,
gonna,
look at me. I'm
yeah,
like,
I know. Hold on.
this.
You're still gonna see a little bit of red.
Okay.
But that's the charm of it, is it's not like you're gonna see a whole floor of red, but you are gonna see some of the darker boards. But it was really fun, and it just instantly modernized that kitchen.
Can you talk to me just to hear more about this out of my own curiosity?
Yes.
Does that process require more work than like regular?
It really doesn't. No, it was a stain. It was a stain.
So you just strip them.
Yeah, strip them like you would on a regular refinish. And I think that the color was called maybe country oak. I'll have to look at the stain chart.
Okay, you heard it here from Megan.
No, I'm not gonna promise that you're never gonna see a little sheen of red. But we did some samples, probably 2 foot by 2 foot, just so she could see like what can you kind of expect.
So great.
It was really fun.
And to your point, it still does maintain a little more character.
It does.
Way.
Yeah. I mean, those floors were 1960s. So they're, 60 years old. But it was just kind of a freshened look, a new take on what hardwoods could be. You know, in our mind, we go hardwoods, it's going to be some version of medium brown.
Yep.
Not necessarily. We're doing more and more kind of this pickled version.
Pickled. I'm going to change this to say pickled hardwoods. Return to natural. We've just talked about basically a lot of this, the hardwoods and a little bit about greens and those types of things. But talk to us a little bit about returning to natural. I mean, again, the stain cabinets is one of those elements. What other things are you seeing?
Stone 100%. And we see stone kind of trend in and trend out of projects, but that is always going to remain timeless and classic. Whether it's a travertine or whether it's a marble. I mean, there's so many options when it comes to natural stone. Wood, again, using reclaimed wood, warm, earthy tones, and all of that. And then a lot of mixtures of metals. metals. So it's like, I think people sometimes have in their mind, like, well, if I do chrome, I've got to do chrome everywhere.
Yes.
You know what? Not necessarily, because think about your kitchen. You've got stainless steel in there for the appliances. Maybe we want to put a little bit of brushed gold on the hardware, but let's keep your faucet in something like a brush finish, stainless, or chrome, just to kind of keep that classic look. So lots of mixtures of metals, which is really fun. It's kind of an eclectic take on it. And I think, again, like I said, it's kind of out of the norm, right? Like we're not expecting to see a whole myriad of different fixtures. So,
which makes it fun because then no two things are the same. I felt like coming out of the 90s, every home looked the same.
Yes.
They all had everything in the house had the same hardware, whereas now it's unexpected.
Yeah, exactly. One room could be different. One little powder bath vanity could be completely different. And that's totally what's a charm about, changing it up. So.
Right. In fact, that's now what almost people expect is to see those character changes from room to room.
Exactly.
Oh man, we're just so ahead of it. Light number 6 on our list is light wood tones.
Yes.
So we talked about cabinets, we talked about floors. Obviously, light wood tones are back.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And whole kitchens, kind of a bleached wood look. And it's like still keeping it light, but it's no longer painted white. Mm-hmm. It's, okay, I see a little bit of the wood grain through it. Oh, wow, that's interesting. That's kind of pretty. So it just kind of has a certain depth to it, but still keeping kitchens light. And so lots of different options in the bleached wood category. So lots of options there.
I like you said, it's almost like white, like a white paint, but it's stained, because I do feel like stain is a more forgiving kitchen cabinet option. So
for
it's
sure.
You get that neutral white look almost,
yes,
but with the forgiveness of a stain.
Correct. Yep. Painted finishes are beautiful, a little bit more to upkeep if you use your kitchen.
I use my kitchen. Unfortunately,
yes.
Way too much.
Along with the rest of everybody that lives in your home. Yes, for other people. So
apparently I should have just put wood as the whole trend for the year, because our next one is walls with wood design. I feel like on Instagram this has blown up. Everything from like hard lines to more vintage feeling, like molding. So yes. I don't know all the terms you can talk about.
No, absolutely. And I feel like there's a place for it no matter the home's design. Like no matter what the home's age is, there's always an opportunity to bring wood onto the walls. And so whether it's traditional, whether it's more modern, but it gives it depth, and it also gives some framework, which is what I love. So stair walls are so much fun. Like I had a project I looked at in Brookside last week, and we just kind of sat there looking at these walls, and it's a huge 2-story staircase, right? So we're looking at these walls, and it's just like, God, there's so much expanse of space. You almost kind of get lost in how big it is, but it's like, what if we did a panel design and we started to frame in some areas for artwork? And she got super excited about that because it was just this whole big overwhelming space. And
it's such an unexpected place to do that too.
Right. And so it just kind of grounded that artwork, because she had some family portraits there that were kind of just lost on this big, huge wall expanse. But as soon as we started talking about some ways to bring in some paneling and some dimension and some purpose to that space, we were off and running. And I'm also doing another paneled entry down at the condo unit, which is more traditional looking. So this has lots of different ways when we start doing wall paneling. And you can actually just apply it over drywall, and then we do an enamel finish. So it can be really economical. And down at the condo project, we have 2 hidden doors in it. So we had this whole scenario where we had multiple doors, but we didn't really want to see the doors. So we created them within this paneling so they're hidden. So they also get the molding treatment, and then they just have a push release.
I love that
so we're excited.
Much.
It just got painted
like
last week.
One seamless space.
Exactly. And so no interruption, because it's just a nice tight little corridor into her unit. And so we just did some paneling details to kind of hide those doors. So I love wood paneling.
I'm very excited about this condo project. It is speaking to me on multiple levels.
Yes.
bars in your home, and we're not talking like bars on the windows. We're talking like bars where you go mix a cocktail. Yes. And whether that be coffee or cocktail, right?
Yes. I mean, for sure, we are absolutely, when we go in and renovate a kitchen or look at a whole space, we are for sure talking about where they're going to have coffee or where they're going to have bar, like mixing cocktail spaces. And sometimes it's both spaces. And so it's certainly a high used area. You know, everybody has a little different preference in terms of what they want to have there. But under counter refrigerator, you know, I've done built-in coffee makers, which are so fun. We've done ice makers, just supplemental area for those specific items that are off of the main kitchen area, right? So like if you're entertaining and it's kind of over separated off in an auxiliary area.
And what's the purpose of separating it?
You know, really, it's traffic flow, okay. You know, so like not everybody's piled up in your kitchen. There's another area outside of the working kitchen that could be used for serving, could be used for drink making. You could have beverages laid out there. So it just gives another space for that function. And I was at a client's home last week and we had put one in and they used yours multiple times a day.
Theirs is amazing because it's hidden. Like they have retractable doors.
Yes. And inside one of those retractable sides is a sink, a full operational sink. And then they have their coffee makers and then it's a full bar, you know, so it's got ice maker, under counter, refrigerator. So they use it a ton. And again, it just kind of keeps the traffic out of the main kitchen. So it just gives another place for all of those functions because it's a very well-used area, you know.
You're saying people go to get drinks a lot.
Yes.
And so that becomes high traffic. Okay.
Yes, high priority, high traffic.
Yeah. Take it out of the cooking.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. No, and I love, again, I think what we've seen, especially since COVID, that people are more and more putting these in because they're like, I want to be able to do this at my own house without having to go out and go get a cocktail. Like, I can bring friends and family here and we can recreate that experience. And everything from, like you just described, like an everyday workhorse basement bar that's for entertaining.
Right, exactly. Or doing them in a dining room. Like, you know, like, hey, we have this dining room, but we need more kitchen capacity over here. Like, how can we expand on our kitchen and get more function? And so we're doing like whole big dining room walls of closed storage. Because again, we're kind of sensitive to how's it going to look. We still want it to look like a showpiece, right? And so, yes. And so, you know, they take on so many different, there's so many different designs. I mean, it's just so much fun. I love them.
Back to another super fun trend is the patterns. It's not just straight lay anymore, right?
Right, exactly. So many different options when it comes to hardwoods. You know, in so many homes that we've done, especially in our kind of old Kansas City area, Brookside, it's pretty straightforward when we go in and we have hardwoods that are in the whole balance of the house. But doesn't necessarily mean that when we're remodeling a kitchen, we can't think through something different, you know, and kind of bring in a different charm with a herringbone, or maybe it's a border with an inset. So many different options when it comes to hardwoods. And then also wide plank is still very popular, or different size planks. So maybe you're working with 3 different sizes of planks. Again, the whole rest of the house still could have hardwood, but there's an opportunity to make an accent within, let's say it's a dining room or a kitchen or an entry. Lots of opportunity to lay that floor differently.
I love it. And to your point, one room is almost just right because it could be over the top.
Right.
The whole house. I mean, it's beautiful, but keeps it a little more within budget, and it's just a special accent to one area. My husband wants parquet floors in our house so bad, and I keep having to rein him in like that is not.
We should have bought a house that already had parquet.
We do not have a budget. You get these beautiful red oaks. So that's all 9 of the trends we'd outlined. Are there any trends that aren't on the list that are in your peripheral that I know, was it
Terrazzo?
Terrazzo.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the sample came in today. So Terrazzo is such a throwback to like mid-century design where you had whole floors of chipped marble and like a poured concrete. And so Terrazzo's coming back. It's not for every project, but I just kind of love when things that we've seen in different eras, 1960s, come back and become trendy. So the sample I got is a Terrazzo, but it's in the shape of a hexagon. And I already took it home, otherwise
I was going to say,
you.
is
Yeah,
it here?
it's really fun. And so I just love when old becomes new, right? Like, and there's certain elements that make it new. So like the shape, the hexagon. And when we see a lot of hexagons in design today, so that's kind of what modernizes it.
Right, but then it's that different look.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's not everyone's speed,
Right.
but I love it.
I thought it was really fun. So, kids' bathroom, backsplash, but it's a little more trendy looking depending on the size of the chips of the Terrazzo. But the one that I got was kind of a white hex and then it had some blue chips. So just really fun. And then there was another one that was like a water jet backsplash and it had marble and Terrazzo, which is kind of an unheard of combo. That one's on my desk if you want to look at it. Yeah. But it's just really fun, like, ooh, interesting. This is something I haven't seen.
I think where we're heading in design is so much fun because you can mix anything. You can mix eras, you can mix styles, you can mix colors. It's just great.
Anything's on the table.
And in fact, if it's not, it's boring.
Right? Exactly. That's why we're always looking for something that we haven't seen before, which, hey, Terrazzo and marble, sure, why not?
And I think to that point, like, it doesn't have to be a design trend. It can just be what you like then.
Exactly. 100%, which is why it makes it your project and why it's unique, know?
Yeah.
So
I'm super excited to see the projects that get finished this year and the trends that we called and the trends that come that we didn't call.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you for joining our podcast and sharing your wealth of information on these design trends. And I will post some of the photos we referred to on our website as well, so you folks listening can see in application some of these designs. But again, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.